watching The Breakdown with the fight analyst Garrett Kerman.
And welcome back to another episode of The Breakdown. I'm your host, the fight analyst Garrett Kerman. With me is my man, Joe Danger, Jesse Hobson. What's up, man? How's it going?
What's up, man? What's up? Yeah, Jesse Hobson coming in hot, ready to break these fights down with you.
Absolutely. UFC London, we're finally back in the UK after a 2-year hiatus. It's crazy. Actually, almost 3-year hiatus. I'm sorry, 3 years away from the UK. And this fight card is absolutely stacked top to bottom. Great fight card. But before we get into that, we got to recap UFC Vegas 50. Great fight card there. I mean, what stood out to you the most on that fight card?
There's a few things. Number one, because I'm going through it real quick. Let's see. Jillian Anderson, shit the bed. Who would have thought? Which you had one job. Also, Cody Brundage, hell yeah.
Wow.
Guido, hell yeah. Dude, I told you Chris was not going to be. I
had too much faith in him, I guess. I don't know.
But I think the big story out of this is Khalil Roundtree. Holy shit. That was an impressive finish, man. Round 2 KO really just took it to Carl. Carl looked like crap, all like from bell to bell, yeah.
Right. That was impressive. I like his evolution. He's coming around. I mean, he's had a bumpy road in his career, and he looks like he's kind of turned the little table there. Maybe we'll see a little run from him.
I hope so. Obviously his body looks back like in peak shape. He was not looking the best a couple fights ago. So hopefully he can keep this up. It's hard to say. Like you said, he's kind of had his ups and downs. I like the guy. I like what he has to say. I like him for the sport. That's cool. The other thing I wanted to mention is Alex Caceres looked pretty good, even though the fight didn't go his way. I told you guys that fight was going to be a little bit closer than the odds indicated. I mean, he had his moments. What'd you think of that fight?
It was a close one. It wasn't the best performance from Sadiq, but he got the job done, got a win, and moving forward. Hey, what's up, Michael Cook, aka the Blood Diamond? Thanks for joining us. But yeah, I thought it wasn't the best performance, but I know that the camp over there with Sadiq and Tafan, they were going through some things. So even those type of performances, they did well. And Tafan, my lord, I felt so bad for him. I had a bet on the other side, but I was kind of rooting for Tafan. And he was winning that fight up until that flying knee that put him out. My God.
Yeah, another one that I was really hoping for was Marlon Moraes. I kind of wanted a good showing out of him. He looked good until he didn't. And Song Yadong is on a fucking tear, man. So I'm excited to see what happens with him. And I'm curious to see what happens with Marlon Moraes after that fight.
Well, it looks like he's retiring.
Oh yeah, that's right. I took off his gloves, which I don't know if that will. I don't know if he'll stay retired. But I mean, it's probably the right call. When I see Song Yadong though, it makes me think like this is what like he's like what Alpha Male wanted from Cody. Because he does what they say. Like you can hear him or like you can see him like react to his corner. So it's like Cody 2.0 or Cody 3.0 really, because I think Cody called himself 2.0 for a while. So I'm excited to see what happens with him. So the main event, I don't know, boring as hell. I expect a little bit more from Magomed, but we'll see what happens. I think he was just he said he wanted to go all 5 rounds just to see if he could do it or showcase. But I mean, why would you do that if you could easily just finish him?
I don't know. It doesn't help his case to fight for a title next, but so that means he's gonna have to fight somebody else. Maybe a Jan Blachowicz fight. I think that makes the most sense because they're the 2 best other than Yuri and Glover. So I think that's the right fight to make. so we can finally get him to a title shot, because he deserves a title shot. I mean, let's be honest, he deserves it more than Yuri.
I agree.
I mean, but Yuri is a phenomenal, flashy fighter, and that's sometimes what does it more. That's why Ankalaev hasn't gotten his shine yet, because he's not a pure finisher. And mind you, I don't sleep on Glover yet. I mean, if that line keeps creeping up, if people keep betting Yuri, I'm gonna have to take a stab on Glover. I mean, he's a crafty veteran, and Yuri definitely hasn't fought anybody like Glover yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's a case for Yuri, especially because the way he beat Reyes, the way that he did. But at the same time, I mean, Reyes isn't really all that great. Like, it's just, he's good. Don't get me wrong, he's good, but yeah, I would. It's the line should be closer. That's all I'm trying to say with Yuri and Glover. So I also want to mention, Michael Cook is saying Garbrandt versus Moraes.
The fight of no chins.
Yeah, I mean, it probably wouldn't last very long. I mean, it would probably
simultaneous knockout both of them at the same time.
it would be fun. I mean, but at the same time, I want to see Garbrandt versus O'Malley, and that one should be fun while it lasts as well.
Yeah.
But you ready to move on to the I guess the next one?
Yeah, let's move on to the breakdown. All right. Let's get it started on the prelims. Our first fight up, I believe. Where the hell are we? Give me a second. Loading here. Loading. All right. First fight up is in the flyweight division between Muhammad Mokaev and Cody Durden. Right now, the line is set at Mokaev is a massive minus 380 favorite. And I come back on Durden as a plus 290 underdog. Who do you got?
So Mokaev coming in as a big favorite, hype train, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, Durden isn't a slouch. Like, so the line is interesting to me because Mokaev hasn't faced the really all that crazy of competition until recently. His last two fights, he looked like those guys had okay records. But for me, I'm either going to sit this one out or just maybe sprinkle a little bit on Durden just to see what happens. But it's just going to be a dogger pass because that line is just insane for someone that hasn't been really proven in my eyes.
Yeah, he's got a ton of hype behind him. He was 22-0, as an amateur, which is unheard of. He's 5-0 as a professional, so he's got a lot of experience. Obviously, not against the greatest level of competition. Cody Durden is definitely, arguably, the best fighter he's ever faced, even with 27 fights under his belt. But I do think Mokaev is definitely more dangerous. He's definitely got the better cardio. He does get taken down. I don't think Durden's going to be able just to control him all that well. He's good in the scrambles, good getting back to his feet. On the feet, he's definitely the better striker, and I do think he's the better submission threat when he gets into the scrambles as well. And we know Durden tends to fade after round one in every one of his fights. Chris Gutierrez, he came in 10-8, lost the last two rounds decisively. He won round one in his last fight, but he faded hard in rounds 2 and 3, and his opponent's fight IQ is what really lost him the fight versus, him just outworking him. His fight IQ was just terrible. And, I feel like that's the same thing's going to happen here. Durden's he's going to start out hot. He's going to start very hot like he normally does. He's going to land takedowns. He's going to get some good control time. But as the fight moves on, he probably is going to start fading. And I think that's when Mokaev can take over, possibly finish him late or get a decision win. I don't want to bet him at minus 380, and I can't guarantee that he's going to finish him or not. This is a fight where I'd probably just pass altogether because there's just absolutely no value. And there's a lot of these fights on this card that are juiced to the gills, so there's not a lot of value on a majority of them. So you might see a lot of passes here and there. And unfortunately, when you got these type of cards that have a lot of, one-sided fights, you're going to get a lot of these wonky lines. Like majority of these fights are over minus 200. So there's only a couple that are, closely, contested in the eyes of the odds makers. So it's gonna be tough to really find some gems in this one.
Yeah. Also, talking about Makayev's amateur record, I noticed this earlier, like when I was kind of digging into like his history. Some of those guys he fought more than once. So it's like, okay, do they just like meet up like every summer or something, like a basketball tournament, and just build up this record? That does happen, in Russia or Brazil. But yeah, I just like you. I just think that this is too juicy, and I'm just probably going to sit it out, honestly. And
right.
I mean, and that way we can kind of cap it for the next one ultimately.
Right, and I don't want to lay minus 380 on a debutant against a guy that has multiple fights inside the UFC octagon against high level competition. So yeah, I'm not laying that right there. Even if if he wins, he wins. I'll be okay with passing, but it's gonna be tough because I feel like it's gonna be a sweat. It's not gonna be he's not gonna run over him like the line suggests. He will.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Our next fight, it's in the women's strawweight division between Elise Reed and Corey McKenna. Right now, McKenna is a minus 265 favorite, and the comeback on Reed is a plus 215 underdog. Who do you got?
I like McKenna. I mean, we saw her on what was it, Tuesday Night Contender? She was on Contender, right?
Right.
And she looked good. Also a bit too pricey for me though, especially for women's MMA. While I do normally fade Alpha Male, I think she should get the win here, and she'll probably win by decision. But keeping that in mind, I wouldn't be surprised with a KO either, just based on the other girls like last couple outings. But yeah, I'm ultimately just picking McKenna, but I'm probably not going to place any bets here.
Yeah, there's no way I'm trusting either one of these two with my money. It's just not going to happen. Especially Corey McKenna minus 265. That's just asking to want to lose money. I mean, could you trust her at minus 265 against anybody? No. Elise Reed is not the best, competition. Don't get me wrong, but she's still a competent fighter that can push McKenna and go to a close decision. Do you really want to sweat a minus 265 on Corey McKenna? I'd go with no. Do I think she wins? Yes, I do. Ultimately, she should win. I think she's a better grappler. I think she's a better striker. She throws more volume. She's going to push the pace. She's going to come forward. She's going to be in Reed's face nonstop. That's why I do think she wins. But is she going to look like a minus 265? Probably not. So I have her winning, not betting. Moving on. Next fight.
McKenna's also a little like slow to me. Like she does push the pace, but not the entire fight. So I feel like that could, ultimately be like, I don't want to sweat that much. Ultimately, is what I'm getting at, and right. I feel like placing a bet, you will sweat. So just keep that in mind if you guys do decide to go down that hole.
Yeah, I mean, do you really want to sweat on Corey McKenna at minus 265?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want nothing of that. Like, I'd rather just like enjoy. I don't know if you want to say enjoy watching or just enjoy going to get some food and then coming back and watching here and there. But anyways, moving on. Our next fight up is in the bantamweight division between Jack Shore and Timur Valiev, which is arguably one of the sleeper fights on this card. I love this fight.
Yeah.
Right now, the odds are Valiev at minus 115 and the comeback on Shore is a minus 105 underdog. Pick 'em fight. What you got?
I like this. I like this fight as well. I like Shore. I think he's both crafty and strong enough to weather whatever game plan Timur has up his sleeve. I'll take Shore at plus money. I'm used to, betting the chalk with him. Both these guys tend to win split decisions for some reason. And I would actually assume that this one would probably be another one of those fights. Probably a close one if it gets there. That being said, I think the hometown cooking might be helpful in this case. And that's why I'm cool with, taking a chance or a stab at the plus money with Shore.
I've been waiting for this line to come all the way down because I see a lot of love on the Shore side. A lot of people are betting Shore. and understandably so. He's 15-0, and he's looked sensational since being in the UFC. He's 4-0 at the UFC. His grappling has looked good. He's got 2 finishes in his last 4. He's beaten good competition like Hunter Azure, Ludwig Shalinian, and he's looked good. But I just feel like he hasn't beaten anybody on the same wavelength as Timur Valiev.
Yeah.
He hasn't faced a striker that can outstrike him until right now. I mean, he had troubles with Hunter Azure on the feet. Hunter Azure was, winning some exchanges. He was the one that was pushing forward. He's the one that was landing the heavier shots. It's his takedowns that really won him the fight, and that's why he got the split decision win. But in this fight, if he doesn't hold him down, Valiev is going to dance around him. His movement's exceptional on the feet. His chin, not so much. That could happen where short. He does have a good right hand. It's, pretty powerful. He could sit him down. Would I be surprised at that? Absolutely not. But the chances of that, the percentage of that happening is extremely high. I don't think so. So the longer this fight stays on the feet, I think it's, Valiev's fight to win. And then you look at Shore, his last 2 fights, he only controlled Ludwig and Hunter Azure only 4 minutes apiece. It didn't finish them. Well, that means the other 11 minutes were on the feet. So if you give 11 minutes to Valiev to just be on the feet, he's winning 11 minutes of a 15-minute fight. Because, I mean, I don't see what Shore is going to be able to do to stop getting hit and just missing. Because you have Valiev, who's definitely has the massive, volume advantage. He's massive speed advantage. And he's just got more tools in the chest as well. Because, you look at Shore, he's just a 1-2 kind of guy. Throw a calf kick. Keep it simple. Get on the inside. Drag it to the mat. And that's where he's the most dangerous. I feel like if he doesn't control Valiev, who's never been submitted, he's, I believe, a Ricardo Almeida Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And he's very well versed on the mat. Trains with Zabit and his brother. So he does a ton of grappling exchanges all the time. So I just don't think he's going to be able to hold him there. And then when it's on the feet, it's Valiev's fight to lose. We'll see how it goes. But I see everybody loving Short, and I get it because he's a great fighter. He's fun to watch, and he's finishing people, and he looks like the real deal. But I guess he's going to have to prove to me that he's top 15 capable, because I think Valiev is a top 15 fighter. And if he beats him, he deserves to be in the top 15, in my opinion.
Do you think it's possible to go to decision, or are you thinking it gets finished?
No,
I think you said kind of both options.
I think it definitely goes to a decision. I don't think Valiev is going to get finished. I mean, he could get finished by a knockout. He's definitely not going to get subbed. That's what I know. I know he's not going to get subbed. He could get knocked out. It's possible. And I don't think Valiev is going to go in there and knock him out. He has the ability to, but I don't think he's that powerful. And I think Short can take a shot too, Yeah. So I don't think Valiev is going to finish him. So if Valiev wins, it's probably going to be a decision. If Short wins, I can see a knockout or a decision. But I got to go Valiev. That's what I got. All right. Moving on, we got a fight in the light heavyweight division between Nikita Krylov and Paul Craig. Right now, Krylov is a minus 195 favorite in the comeback on Paul Craig. It's a plus 165 underdog. Who do you
got? So this one, I kind of went back and forth with, but ultimately I decided, Nikita's recent wins are from guys that typically gas. I mean, he looks good, and he's definitely won me quite a bit of money in the past. Minus 200, I feel like it's a bit too steep, especially against Craig. He's pretty solid, as far as his gas tank, and he fights bell to bell. He's always looking for the finish. I'm thinking Craig by sub here, hopefully anyway, and especially at plus 450.
Right. I completely agree with you. I bet Craig by sub against Jamal Hill at plus 450 and plus 500, and I just missed out on that. I mean, technically he tapped, but
yeah,
they didn't call it, And I'm gonna bet it again because he's gonna get the sub here. Krylov is susceptible to getting taken down. He's been taken down 7 of his last 8 fights. And the only person that didn't take him down was Johnny Walker because he doesn't grapple at all. So that means the other 7 grappled and took him down. Craig's getting him down. Craig's going to finish him. He's going to get the submission. He's going to make it, 6-0 in his last 6 fights because that split draw against, I forgot for a moment, but the split draw, it was not a split draw, okay? Let's put it that way. So Craig's going to get this win. He's going to keep it moving. And he's actually one of the most profitable fighters to bet on. I mean, the ROI on Paul Craig is 99%. If you bet 1 unit on every one of his fights, you'd be up, I think, over 9 units. Over 9 units.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you try at this point? I mean,
right at plus 165, why not? Like I said, 1 unit every single fight in his UFC career, you'd be up almost 10 units. 99% ROI, that is insane. He's insanely profitable because of these type of spots. The odds makers tend to, underestimate his abilities. They really do. And this is one of the fights where I think he should be a slight favorite, maybe minus 120, minus 140. I mean, I don't know what Krylov is going to do. And the thing is, Krylov is a good striker, right? But he always tends to get in grappling exchanges for no apparent reason. Doesn't need to. He does it anyways. He'll jump in and he'll try to take the fight to the mat, and that's all Craig wants.
Yep.
Let him just come down. Come down to my guard. We'll play a little cuddly. We'll cuddle on the mat a little bit, and I'll sub you. It's just what's gonna happen. I just don't see it. I just don't think he's good. And also, granted, Krylov is a known gasser.
Yep.
As a fight moves on. And don't get me wrong, Craig gasses too. But he gasses when he gets punched in the face a lot. He's not going to gas when he's grappling.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting a good line here on Craig at plus 165. I mean, it's worth the gamble. Like Krylov at minus 190, that's crazy talk. It really is.
I feel like if Nikita is to grapple Craig, this is kind of what I was getting at as far as his gas tank, and it's going to be in Craig's wheelhouse. So, I mean, he has no problem just being on his back for 15 minutes, throwing his legs up, trying to get something. And I just don't see him getting tired, from that point, especially against this guy. We'll see. I'm excited to see what happens just because of that line. But I mean, that's how most of Craig's fights are.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I just kind of like him at this price. And then, Craig in his interviews was saying how he's not as big as I thought he would be.
Yep. Well, and Craig looked big, like he looked thicker in his interviews, which I mean, a lot of those aren't done. Some of the interviews that I saw were not done like within this week, but even the ones that I saw, leading up to the weigh-ins or this week, he looked large. Like he looked larger than usual. I don't know if maybe I'm just, looking for something to kind of like
sway you one way, right?
Yeah, or just kind of like make me feel more smart, But I don't know. I don't see it really going any other way. And right. You mentioned something too about Nikita is always looking to grapple. I mean, that's what he did with Johnny Walker. Like he was winning on the feet and still trying to grapple. And I could see that easily happening here, but not working in his favor. So we'll see.
Right. Like I think he did it against Glover too.
Yeah, he did.
He would strike at a distance and then he will close the distance and grapple against the fence. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Why are you jumping in? Why are you grappling against, the known grappler? You're winning at distance, and and that's what I expect him to do. It's just that's his DNA. Grappling is in his DNA, and he's a good grappler. Don't get me wrong, but he's not an elite grappler. He's not an elite jiu-jitsu practitioner. Someone like Paul Craig, who I think is arguably the best jiu-jitsu guy next to like a Glover Teixeira in the entire division.
Speaking of that, it's probably a little bit of pride. So he probably wants to win a particular way. And especially, think about how you would feel, coming off, winning against Craig, in a grappling match. Like you would feel like on top of the world. But at the same time, you need to be smart, and I just don't see him, especially looking back at his wins. He doesn't have the greatest IQ. So just something to think about.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving on into the heavyweight division between Shamil Abdurakhimov, I think, and Sergey Pavlovich. Right now, Pavlovich is in minus 290 favor in the comeback on Shamil. We're going to go with Shamil. I like Shamil. Plus 230 on Shamil. Who you got?
So Sergey either wins in round 1 or he loses this fight. Shamil probably gets knocked out for the 3rd time in a row here. And Sergey, whatever the hell his name is, round 1 KO. The writing's on the wall. I feel like this isn't necessarily like a showcase fight, but it's almost like they put it here for pacing, because some of these other fights prior to this are going to be slow and steady.
Right.
And this one is almost like, okay, let's get these guys in real quick, round 1 KO, and then we can run some thing Michael Bisping did, some package he did, before Mr. Fenlon comes out. So that's what I think is going to happen. And based on kind of looking at, both of these guys' previous fights, I would probably say Shamil isn't going to be here after this weekend.
I just noticed today, I was looking at this over. I mean, this man is 40 years old. He's going to be 41 years old. He just got deaded just not even 6 months ago, and he's back again against another heavy hitter? What?
Yeah.
This man's going to die. No, he's not going to die. Sorry, I'm not going to say that. He's not dying. He's not dying. He's going to get hurt in there. This man's going to get hurt.
It's weird because, oddly enough, like I watched, I was watching interviews today or listening to interviews while I was working. And so I was like, he's 41. And then I also found out Kim Kardashian's 41. Like what, like that's such a odd comparison, but yeah, that like, it's weird because especially like he got, like you said, he got deaded recently and he's literally coming. He's a fucking sheep at this point, like going to slaughter.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, Chris Daukaus is a heavy hitter. Don't get me wrong. He doesn't even hit as hard as Sergey is going to hit him. Yeah. I mean, he's going to blast him. He's got an 8-inch reach advantage as well. He's 11 years younger than him. He's not even 30. He's not even in his prime. He's coming off 2 straight wins. He's just had a long layoff. I don't know really the reason for it. I'm not sure. Maybe some injuries. I really don't know. Maybe it was COVID. And he has some issues with his visa. I don't know. But either way, he's still very young. He's 29 years old. He's just hitting his prime. He's got insane power. He's got majority of his wins are by round 1 KO. He's got some KO. He's got some decision wins too, which is surprising. But
Shamil has a big head.
He does. He gets hit a lot.
His head is large. And his 41-year-old head is gonna be flying into the into the splash zone. I'd be willing to bet.
Give me Pavlovich plus 100 to win in round 1. I think that's the play of this this fight by far. Plus 100.
I don't. Inside the distance, I think is not even that crazy either.
It's minus 225.
Yeah, that's
they're like, oh, this man's definitely getting a win.
Yeah, they know. unless there's like some weird shenanigans, but I mean,
no, man, like there's no shenanigans. Like unless Pavlovich just fell off the face of the planet and he's got some torn ACL that we don't know about, there's no way he should lose this fight.
Yeah, like I said, I think that this fight is thrown in here just for pacing. Like they're gonna Bisping's been working on a package, that
he's got that documentary coming out.
Yeah, so he needs to play a little trailer right here.
That's exactly what, bro. If they do that, we'll cut this out, and then we'll just paste up there, just so everybody will say we called that. We called that.
It wouldn't surprise me. I've done that in the past. Like there's been cards where I'm like, there's probably going to be a package about the main event right here, and you can tell. You watch enough of these things, you can kind of decipher, which ones are the showcase fights. You know this.
Right.
Which ones are the showcases, which ones are based on pacing, and especially if you go to like an event, like especially in Houston, like we get pay-per-views out the wazoo. It's like, okay, this one's literally just so you can go take a piss. It is what it is.
Well, hopefully, I'm hoping to be at UFC 273 in Jacksonville, so I'll know all about that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how that goes. But moving on, we got a fight in the featherweight division between Mccann, Amir Khan, and Mike Grundy. Right now, Amir Khan is a plus 165 underdog, and the comeback on Grundy is a minus 195 favorite. Who do you got?
Yeah, so this kind of surprised me. I'm not exactly sure what news I'm missing here. Perhaps maybe one of you guys in the 41-year-old head, perhaps one of you in the chat can kind of like let me know what I'm missing as far as all this money coming in on Grundy. I get it though. I agree. I'm gonna have to agree. Mr. Finland hasn't looked great lately. And unless he pulls a sub out of his ass, I think Grundy's going to push him to a unanimous decision. Mccann, or however, again, I suck at these names. He may look good early, so I would suggest maybe placing a live bet after the first on Grundy, because I don't think he'll be able to continue to push that pace, and Grundy probably can. So what am I missing, Garrett? Why is all this money coming in on Grundy?
Because they're saying the same thing you're saying, that Amir Khan is a round one or bust, essentially. He got deaded in his last fight. He looked good. Look, round one, he won round one against Lerone Murphy. Then he got killed in round two. That's his MO. Look good round one, get killed rounds 2 and 3, or just get absolutely dominated from second all the way to the decision. That's just how he fights. Thing is, with Grundy will give him the opportunity to catch a sub though.
Yep.
I mean, he's definitely going to leave his neck out there. He says he's not going to because he knows his chokes, this and that, because he does the same thing. But if a guy is good at chokes, it doesn't matter if you leave your head out there or not. He will snatch your neck regardless. So it's going to be dicey in the beginning, but I feel like Grundy will pull away towards the end as well. I do like the live betting scenario there. I do think, Grundy definitely drops round one. I feel Mccann will be pushing the better pace in round one. And I think we could possibly get Grundy towards minus 120, minus 140 after the break, I would say.
Yeah, I was thinking about this today as well. That's a line that I would hope for, but honestly, I'll probably take anything after round one. The last time I've seen Mccann look good an entire 15 minutes was, I think, against Fishgold, and I'm a Fishgold fan. I had money on Fishgold, but yeah, he's just looked like shit ever since. Except for sometimes in round one.
Right, and I expect the same. He's probably gonna win round one, and then rounds 2 and 3 is where he probably gets beat pretty bad.
He just needs to, quit banging all these strippers and concentrate on fights again, and then he can talk his shit. Because I like it when he talks shit.
Man, he doesn't. He hasn't talked shit in a minute because that man keeps getting beat.
Yeah, well, good on him. He at least knows when to fold them, I guess you could say.
Yeah, he'll talk shit to the guys that he can't beat though.
Yeah.
All right, we're up to the first fight on the main card at 155 pounds between Jai Herbert and Ilia Topuria. Right now, Topuria is a minus 590 favorite, and then come back on Herbert is a plus 425 underdog. Who do you got?
Man, I know Ilia is good, but shit. minus 600 in some places. I've seen minus 610, and I like Herbert, and I was feeling really smart until Trinaldo knocked him out. I think we're gonna see Ilia get another fantastic highlight finish, a lot kind of like the Trinaldo fight. I think he's gonna basically just dead Herbert, and hopefully he calls out Patty here. That's a lot of chalk for me. But I think it might be a nice parlay piece. I don't see Herbert weathering the storm. I just don't see it happening.
No, I just can't see it either. I mean, unless it turns out to be like a Luanna, Carolina, and Godinez type of fight, where the fight IQ is just insanely bad, by Topuria and just going for endless takedowns and not getting them. I just don't see that kind of happening because I feel like if Topuria goes for takedowns, he will land them. Herbert is not a great grappler by any stretch. I believe he got subbed by Morcano fairly easily. And then Topuria is a jiu-jitsu black belt in his own right. But this dude has got power. The only thing that's going against him here is the size. I don't see him getting knocked out. I don't see him getting subbed. So it's whether or not he can really get on the inside of the reach and start landing some heavy shots and get the takedown. I do think he gets it down. I do think he gets a submission win and gets his first submission win in the UFC because I just think he's just a lot better. But it's just like, I don't know. I just don't know like how you bet this fight because it's not guaranteed he's gonna win by submission, and that's my plus 100, I believe. And the under 1.5 rounds is minus 130, and he's gone under only once in his UFC career so far.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know. That's like too risky for me, like as far as like the over or the under, because just depending on how it plays out, it could easily go one way or the other.
Right.
But I do, and I'm going to say it again. I do think that the Paddy stuff plays a role in this. I think that he's going to want to come out with a highlight finish, and he's probably going to want to call out Paddy, in Paddy's house. And, he might take a sub, but I think he's going to look for that. I think he's going to look, for the head, more often than he usually does, even though he does, knock people out. But, I think that's going to play a role because I don't know if you saw, but Paddy sent him a Wikipedia and it was like, what's Ilya known for? And it said it's known for Paddy throwing hand sanitizer at him. That's what he's known for. And
that was funny.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty clever because Wikipedia, you can go in there and edit whatever the hell you want, but the fact that it shows up on Google when you search Ilya now, it's kind of it's next level trolling, and we all know like I'm a big fan of that second level trolling, and I think that even though they're not even fighting, I think that Paddy's in his head, and I think that he's going to want to make a statement here. At least I hope so.
I think he does. I mean, it's not a really tough opponent. It's just the size that he's gonna have a little bit troubles with early. That's about it. Other than skill for skill, he's better than him everywhere.
I like Herbert too. I wish that they would quit giving him these. Like, I want him to do well, and he's getting these fucking killers.
But he's also saying yes to anybody they're throwing his way, though. You know
True.
What I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Because if he does win, I mean, he's gonna look like a genius.
Yeah. No, this would be his biggest win if he does get a win, though.
Yeah,
for sure. Because there's so much hype around Topuria right now.
So. Yeah. Well, minus 600 in some places.
Exactly. All right, moving on. We got a fight in the flyweight division between Molly Mccann and Luanna, Carolina. Right now, Mccann is a minus 140 favorite, and the comeback on Carolina is a plus 120 underdog. Who do you got?
Molly has disappointed me way too much in the past to actually play her this weekend. While I do think she should handle business here, it'll be really boring, and it'll definitely go to decision. Carolina isn't entertaining either. So yeah, and this fight is for Molly and the crowd, but yeah, this is, we were talking about earlier. This is the fight you go get a refill or grab a smoke. Take your time though, because you've got 15 minutes to do so. So it's Molly by decision, but I really don't care. And and it's cool, I train with all these cool guys, but dude, do something. It's like that meme where they're poking the thing that's dead, and it's like, do something. That's what I feel like. Like I'm the kid that's poking Molly, like, because she's always boring as hell. And it's cool. Your nickname's Meatball, but I mean, let's actually like do something cool.
All right. I'm kind of fairly confident in Molly Mccann in this fight. I mean, she's gonna be fired up. It's in her hometown. Fans are gonna go crazy for her because they love her. She's gonna come forward. She's gonna throw more volume like she always does. She's gonna be in her face. She's gonna be able to come forward. It's just what she does. I mean, and if you look at who she's lost to, she's only lost to people that grapple. Tyler Santos, Laura Procopio, Jillian Robertson. Every striker she's faced, she's beaten. And this is going to be the same thing because she can get punched in the face. Caroline ain't knocking her out. No one's knocking her out. She's tough as shit. She's going to keep coming forward. She's going to eat punches. She's going to be in your face, and she's going to throw punches back. So you better be ready. And I don't think Caroline's going to be ready because she always tries to be on the outside, and she doesn't do a good job at keeping her distance. You saw the tiny Luby Godinez be able to get on the inside with absolute ease. And she's only 5 foot. She's only 2 inches taller than Molly Mccann. She's not that much bigger. And she's faced a 10-inch reach disadvantage in her last fight. So the 8 inches of that Luanna Carolina has, it's not really going to be anything that she hasn't faced before. So I think she's going to be able to get on the inside, land the heavy shots, come forward, put the pace, put the pressure, land more, and get the hometown cooking. I mean, if this fight's anything remotely close, it's unanimous decision to Molly Mccann. There ain't no fucking way she's losing this fight in her hometown on the judges' scorecards, even if it's remotely close. Carolina's going to have to knock her ass down more than once and almost finish her to get this win.
Yeah, I think I think Molly's going to hold her against the fence and like hit her in the head, over top. I don't know, dude. Like, I'm not sold on Molly. I think she wins this fight. And like you said, home cooking, but I'm going to go make a sandwich or something during this.
Fight. It's definitely not the fight that you're like, oh my God, I really want to watch this. But I just feel like we're getting a good edge here because this is a fight that they want her to succeed.
Yeah.
So that when they go back to the UK, which they are again at some point later in the year, she's going to be on the card again. She's got more hype. She's got 2 wins in a row. I mean, and just keep on going that way. They're doing the same thing with Patty. They're giving him a layup of a fight as well. They want them to do well. They can market them over the UK, build some hype, build some money on them until they eventually have to lose against a top-tier opponent.
Sandwich.
All right. Sandwich. All right, moving on into our next fight in the welterweight division between Gunnar Nelson and Takashi Sato. Right now, Nelson is a massive -510 favorite. And the comeback on Sato is a +375 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm very curious as to what you're going to say here. Gunnar hasn't fought since 2019. I think Sato is being a bit disrespected here, my man. I'm a big Gunnar fan. Sato, I mean, he did fight back in 2020, but I think the lines in the fight is going to be a little bit closer than the odds indicate. Kind of like I said with the last card with Bruce Leroy. I think Nelson wins by sub or Sato catches Gunnar and puts him away. But while Sato isn't a world beater, I think he might be a gunny beater, this weekend. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the +400 just because being that out of the game for, or out of the octagon for so long, I think that there is an opportunity for Sato to just catch Gunnar off guard.
The thing is, I want Sato to do well, but this man he just can't defend grappling. And I don't think taking on arguably the best jiu-jitsu practitioner he's ever faced on short notice in another country, in his hometown, is going to do him any justice.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think -510 is warranted either, though.
That's weird. It's weird, right? And that's what I'm thinking is that because Sato is coming in on short notice, I think he's going to be going for the finish as soon as we start, and that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, if you want even something crazier, you could do inside the distance and then put. I mean, I don't know, like that's just a crazy line for Gunnar, especially being on that big of a layoff.
Right. I mean, Gunnar should be. He's pretty much sub or bust in this situation. Yeah. But if he gets him down, it's all but over. Like he only needs one takedown to finish the fight. Period. Yep. Like Sato's not getting up if he gets taken down, like at all. He's getting subbed fairly quickly after that because he's just not even remotely in the same wavelength of Gunnar Nelson. I mean, look how easily he got subbed by Bilal Muhammad. Look how easily he got subbed in his last fight as well. It's just doesn't bode well. I mean, getting subbed by two strikers and Bilal Muhammad and Miguel Baeza, very, very bad. Those two are certified strikers, and he got subbed by them.
Yeah. Dude, don't get me wrong. I was like, I need a reason, but I just can't, like, being that and who I keep thinking of who knocked out Gunnar not too long ago, and I was like, I can tell you, and I was like, that's all I need to see to risk it. But Ponzinibbio.
Risk it for the biscuit. But that was Ponzinibbio way back in the day when Ponzinibbio was, pre-injury, pre-old.
Oh, I agree. But I mean, I don't know. I guess that with the combination of being off since 2019, and I mean, Gunnar's getting up there in age too. But shit, I mean, he's only 33. He just looks older, I guess. I don't know, dude. That's a nice risk. And if for some reason Sato does knock him out, I'm gonna look really, really smart. So, I just want to look smart.
But if not,
well, I can do some money on Gunnar by sub, and then I'll risk some of my money, and then the other half, $5 or $10 on Sato by KO.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. All right, moving on. We got a fight in the lightweight division between Paddy Pimblett and Kazula Vargas. Pimblett minus 550. The comeback on Vargas plus 400. Who do you got?
I really hope Paddy wins. I've been a fan of his. He used to follow me on Twitter. I honestly don't know if he still does, but I used to talk shit to that dude that was on Tough, the guy his name was Skeletor, and Paddy, because he was ducking Paddy, and Paddy would always jump in and be like, "Yeah, this guy's right," and I always thought that was funny. Like, why are you jumping in this random conversation? Like, I mean, yeah, it's about you, but I don't know. I've always liked him. I've been a big fan. It's kind of weird that he's like all this just getting this crazy love because I felt like an island boy, for the longest time. Like I was his only fan, in Texas for like the longest time, it seemed like. But I'd love to see him win just so that, because we all know Ilya is going to win, and I would like to see him talk shit in the post-fight to Ilya again. I also have a bunch of Paddy's rookie cards because of course I do. And those are going to continue to go up in value. And that's what I'm going to send my kids to college with. But anyway, Vargas, though, he is tricky, bro. Like, and he's very dirty.
That's for sure.
I won't be betting Paddy, even at minus 600. I'm afraid that something weird could happen. Just because of Vargas's history, and he's pretty big. Like, he's a big guy, and it wouldn't surprise me for this fight to go exactly the same way Paddy's last fight did, like Vargas rocking Paddy early and then Paddy just doing his thing. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to see Paddy in the octagon again. and then I'm more excited to see him talk like a beetle in the post fight speech.
This is a layup fight. I mean, they're giving him 36-year-old Kazula Vargas as they're just setting him to slaughter. Here you go. We're letting you. We're sacrificing him to you. Here you go. Get your win. Please build yourself up. Keep your talking. Keep the money flowing. We want you to keep talking because that's just more money that you're generating for us, and that's what they're doing. I mean, Kazula Vargas. I mean, what is he good at? Striking, meh. Grappling, meh. He's just there. I mean, he's an average fighter. I think Pimblett's better everywhere. I do think Vargas packs a bit more of a punch, but I feel like Patty's gonna be able to get on the inside, take him down, and finish him round 1. I mean, Vargas got taken down by Wrong multiple times in that fight. All Patty needs is one. He's much, much, much better on the mat than Vargas. So one takedown, he should be able to take his back, pound him out, or take his back and submit him. I got Pimblett round 1. I think it was early in the week at plus 200. Now it's all the way down to like plus 160, plus 120 at one places. He's even calling a first round submission. I got to back him here. I got to believe he gets it done in round 1. But you bet your ass he's getting it done regardless within 2 rounds. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I don't see it lasting long, regardless of what happens. And that would be the only way to bet this fight. Honestly, you don't want to bet Patty at minus 600. There's no point.
Right.
So yeah, be smart.
Be smart. Everybody, be smart. All right, moving on to our co-main event. We got a fight in the featherweight division between Arnold Allen and Dan Hooker. Right now, it's basically a pick-em, minus 115 on Allen, minus 105 on Hooker. Who do you got?
So again, another fight that I kind of went back and forth with. I'm interested to see how this plays out. Honestly, I don't think Hooker has seemed the same since the Poirier fight. I know he beat Nazareth, but with all the big dogs in this division, man, I'm not sure Hooker can continue to hang. I know he has like a reach and he's strong, but I think this one goes the distance. And I think Allen looks like $1 million from start to finish. Plus, I don't know if you saw the photos kind of leading into this week, but Hooker kind of looked like shit, this week and going into this week. So I don't know. I think it's Arnold's time. I'm glad to see him back in the octagon. And I think that it would ultimately, this is his coming out party. Hooker is a name that he can kind of put his cap on. We haven't really, Arnold hasn't really had been showcased. I mean, he has, but he hasn't. He's more of like a bettors fighter. And I think this performance is going to kind of put him in the conversation as far as like the household names. So that's the way I see it. But ultimately, I think it all kind of goes back to that Poirier fight with Hooker.
Yeah, I think Allen gets the biggest win of his career here. I think he's going to look really good. He's going to go up against the best, fighter he's faced in his entire career. He's going to get a signature win over a former lightweight title contender in Dan Hooker. And like you said, at the Poirier fight, everything just kind of started falling apart from there. He, like you said, looked good against Nazareth, but is Nazareth on the same wavelength as Arnold Allen? I don't think so. Is he on the same wavelength as Poirier or Michael Chandler or Islam Makhachev? No. I mean, that's a pretty significant step down in competition between those three. And even from Allen, we know Nazareth got some power, but I mean, that's pretty much it. He's a one-trick pony. But Allen, he can mix it up. He's got some power on the feet. He's got grappling to take Hooker down. He can control him. He can just mix things up. He's got great cardio. He's good at pushing a pace, and he's used to making 145. Hooker hasn't made 145 in a while. Not saying it's gonna be a problem. He's always gonna make weight, and I expect him to make weight. It's just that the longer the fight goes, the more grueling of a pace it is, the more he has to defend takedowns. and just Allen wearing on him, I think it's going to take a massive toll in his first fight back at 145. They're not giving him, any layups at 145. They're throwing him right in the top of the heap against a guy that's 8-0 in his UFC career, 17-1 as a professional. Is just insane. I think he really shows that he's one of the best at 145 pounds this weekend. My favorite bet, though, I feel like it's the safer bet. It just think this fight goes to the distance at minus 150. These guys aren't going to get finished by one another. Both got great chins. Both got rock solid submission defense. Unless you're going against Islam, then that's a completely different story. Completely different story. He's an outlier, but Allen's normally a decision machine too. He doesn't really finish a whole lot, and if anybody finishes, it's most likely Hooker. But I do think Allen's got a good enough chin to withstand any of the knees or any of the shots that Hooker's going to throw his way. But yeah, I got Allen winning here, and I have fight going the distance over 2.5 rounds as well at minus 190, minus 187. So yeah, Allen, fight goes the distance. Even Allen by decision is what? Plus 180. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I like that. That's kind of what I was leaning towards. I also, another thing about Allen, and I went back and watched, his highlights and a couple other one or two fights. He's very intelligent. Like, he knows when to slow down and change the pace, which I don't know. I mean, it speaks volumes to him. I mean, ultimately, but his career, like you said, he has a hell of a resume as far as like his numbers. But yeah, I think like you, he gets it done this weekend and people start talking about him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he deserves it because he's also one of the most humble dudes out there. But so is Hooker too. So you kind of don't want to see either one of them lose.
Does he have I haven't been watching anything this week except for the fact that Hooker looked like shit, but does Arnold have his mustache back or
I think he does. Yeah.
All right, if he does, I'll tell you what, if he does, I'm gonna double the units on him. So just because I like the porn stash, I think it's a good selling point for him. And everyone's going to be tuning in to watch Patty, so he has every reason to have a mustache.
Oh yeah, agreed. All right, moving on to our main event of the evening in the heavyweight division between Tom Aspinall and Alexander Volkov. Right now, Aspinall is minus 125 to come back on Volkov plus 105. Who do you got?
Volkov struggles against wrestlers. No, I think this fight is going to be much closer, right? Because every person is saying that Volkov struggles against wrestlers, and I'll let Garrett speak to that just because we have had a little back and forth about this fight already. But I don't think Aspinall has faced the same competition that Volkov has, and with that being, and with him being plus money, which I think as we get closer to fight time, I think it's going to continue to lean closer to that or go further in like Aspinall's favor. I'm probably going to bet and take a stab at the experience, Volkov. And don't get me wrong, Aspinall is scary, but I think the competition and just the experience ultimately is going to be, what pays the bills this weekend. Aspinall, his competition comparison is kind of lackluster. So yeah, Volkov, man, I think that's my play here.
We gotta shout out some people over here. We have BJ Johnson. What's up, man? How's it going? We got Bruce, Bob Schrato. So Khalil Roundtree nearly kills a man in a major rage fit and then goes on about battling life, peace, and love, this and that. Give me a break. Not the time and place for that nonsense. We appreciate your comments, Bruce, and tuning in. What's up, Francisco? He's on Volkov as well.
Are you on Facebook? I'm looking at Facebook. I don't see these. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. What's up, Al Wallace? How's it going? But yeah, man, I've been on the fence with this fight all week long. I see I see the both sides, right? You have Tom Aspinall, much younger, much faster, much higher ceiling, has the chance to really go further in the division than Volkov at this point. On the flip side, Volkov, by far the biggest fighter that Aspinall has faced in his entire career, by far the most experienced fighter he's faced, by far the best fighter he's ever faced, the most skilled fighter he's ever faced. So it's like this is a huge, huge step up in competition. Also, Aspinall was getting ready for Shamil. Not too long. I'm not. I think he's gotten enough fight camp to get ready for Volkov. But the first initial fight was for Shamil until the UFC came back to him asking if he would go and be the main event against Volkov. He wanted the slow build. He was always, I don't want to jump to the top. Well, things happen, opportunities present itself, and he jumped at the opportunity to headline in his hometown.
Yeah.
Go 5 rounds with a top 5 heavyweight in the division and get mega paid too on top of it. So, it's a tough one to call. It's gonna be interesting if this fight doesn't finish inside 2 rounds. I personally would wait to see if Volkov gets deaded in 10 minutes, because if he does not, I would love to live bet Volkov after round 2. Because if Aspinall comes out there, guns blazing, looks great through 2 rounds, kind of look like he's got some cardio left in him, I'll still take Volkov at plus 150, plus 200, plus 250, in the start of round 3 moving on. Because in the championship rounds, he has the experience and he has the opportunity to really put him away late. Granted, Volkov's cardio kind of didn't look great in his last fight. But I heard there was a lot of different things going on in his life. I think he's had COVID, a new baby, so his sleeping schedule is all messed up. The whole 9. But I think it had to side with Volkov just based on the experience, based on the durability. I mean, the guy's only been knocked out by Derek Lewis, and Minikov in his entire career. In his entire 30-fight career, he's only been knocked out by those 2 guys. And he's faced legit heavyweights his entire career, from Bellator, to the UFC. And those are the only 2 guys that were able to finish him. So I don't think he's going to get finished. We've seen him have good takedown defense. He defended 16 takedowns in his last fight against Marcin Tybura. So I think it's going to be a really tough sledding for Aspinall, even though I do want him to win. But also, if you look back in the last UK fight, the last headliner, hometown favorite, got knocked the fuck out in Darren Till. So we can kind of see maybe there's a little trend here. The UK guys can't close the show. It's possible.
Yeah, I like that. Also, too, with Volkov, I mean, just straight, I like your live bet strategy, but at the same time, I just feel like that experience is going to play a factor. But that being said, I'm going to wait for the line to continue to push in Aspinall. I guess I'm going to wait for money to come in on Aspinall and just wait, and get Volkov at a better price. But also, I wanted to get your opinion. I've heard contradicting reports that say that we still don't know if Volkov can legally fight this weekend. So there is someone, I guess, as backup for this main event.
I don't think there's anything that really confirms that.
Okay.
Because there's ESPN or UFC or MMA Fighting. None of the major outlets have said anything about how this fight could possibly be in jeopardy. I know there was a backup, but there was nothing else. No one really said anything else about that. He was just in town just in case that, he couldn't fight. But we're only now, less than 24 hours away from weigh-in. So I doubt they're going to say that he can't fight now.
Yeah, I got you. I was just curious as to like your perspective on that. But yeah, ultimately, I'm probably just going to wait for that line to get better on Volkov and just pretend that I'm going to bet Aspinall, so all of my friends will bet on him. But yeah, man, I think that'll play a huge dividend.
Yeah, we got Alba saying it's going to be a good fight. Tom loses by decision or late fourth. Definitely possible. The blood diamond saying he was murking Derek Lewis as well for that entire fight, which is true until the last, 15 seconds he got murked.
Yes, yeah, I see. Honestly, that fight in particular, I feel like it's gonna play out either a lot like that fight, or we could talk about whenever he fought Greg Hardy, and he just kind of had his way with him. We'll see.
We got Bruce Bob Trotter, who's in here trying to. He's giving us a little bit of financial advice over here. Bro, if you would just put your money into S&P 500 index funds versus gambling, you'll probably be making more over the long term. Well, why don't we do both? Why don't we put it in the funds and then also gamble and have some fun with it? Because, just having money just sitting there, it's just a little boring. We want some action in our life, right?
Yeah, it's not as fun. It's not that's the answer.
It's just not. Is it more profitable? Probably. But what's better than betting on some fights?
Yeah,
that's what we live for. That's what we're here for. You can win some, you lose some, but at the end of the day is to make profit. Be profitable. Be smart with your decision making. Make sure Mike our blood diamond. Bruce Boutrotter probably is a Nigerian prince and owns 24 cows.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Just being devil's advocate. I totally get you, Bruce Boutrotter. I totally get it. I appreciate you trying to give us some advice. We're just bantering here, but we appreciate you being here, and we're gonna make some money on these fights. That's what we're here for. We're making you money on top of your retirement. No funds. Gold and silver is the way to go in the long run. I feel you on that.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true. That is true. We're getting all types of good advice here from our viewers, and we appreciate you all, tuning in and being here with us. But that's our breakdown for UFC London this weekend. March 19th starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a very early fight card, so don't miss it. And I need you guys to go and like and subscribe to the Vegas Odds YouTube channel. We are doing big things over there, and we will see you guys next week, and we'll see you all cashing out at the tick window. You guys have a good one. Adios.